David with EV World News. We talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. And I'm back today on a Tuesday with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going, Bill?
Going well, thank you, sir.
All right. Well, I wanted to start out with talking about solar. So this is kind of an interesting use case that somebody had posted on LinkedIn. So a farmer that was losing money on cotton got into agrivoltaics,
Okay.
and figured out a way to go from losing $200,000 a year to making an additional $300,000 profit. So he had a $500,000 swing.
Wow.
And this is kind of interesting how this came about. So he switched to something called solar grazing. So one of the issues is when people have all these solar farms, they still have to take care of the grass or whatever is underneath. So this guy started raising sheep.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyways, this guy was from 4 generations of cotton farmers, and several years of bad harvests and low prices, it wasn't starting to work out. And so he became what he calls a solar shepherd. Solar farms need vegetation management around their panels. Traditional mowing is expensive and uses fossil fuels. Sheep do the job naturally, rain or shine, day or night.
Rain or shine. Well, they get under the panels, when it's raining.
Yeah. Farmers get steady, predictable income instead of gambling on crop and fuel prices. This guy's name is Chad Rains. He's in Texas. He now grazes 6,000 sheep across 20,000 acres of solar farms. So that's about 4 gigawatts.
So they hire him. He rents out his sheep to mow.
I'm not exactly sure. I was assuming that maybe he owned all this land. Let me see. A 2024 USDA report reported that 40% of small and mid-sized farms actually operate at a loss. Now, some of that could be questionable because in business, you can take depreciation losses. So a lot of times when I see numbers, it's, I'm curious if those are the real numbers or those are the numbers, after depreciation. Because even now with the Big Beautiful Bill, there's some depreciation benefits to like buying aircraft and leasing them out, buying farm equipment. There's some things you can write off stuff real quick. I will tell you though, don't go buy a jet on financing and take a big deduction, because one of my friends was telling me he's known people who tried to do that and something has changed in the market and they've had to sell the jet and recapture the depreciation, just had massive tax bills.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, so that is not.
Those are cheap. You're talking
millions,
double-digit millions.
Yep. Yeah. So, anyways, but it's saying that cotton farming would have cost Rains $200,000 in losses. Solar grazing earned him a $300,000 profit for a $500K swing. Small farming is going away. It's the big companies, bigger farmers. But solar grazing changes that equation: predictable income, no crop risk or weather gambling, sustainable land use, a business to pass down to the next generation. What they don't get into is, do sheep fart? Do sheep, give us methane farts?
Of course they do.
But is it methane?
Of course they do. But then they're just replacing whatever was on grazing that land originally before we showed up, right? So
yeah, I just have always the whole cow fart thing with methane,
right?
It's like, so we just kill all the cows. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, well, what did we do when we had the country with 30 to 50 million buffalo? And they're bigger than a cow.
Right. No, I know. Yeah. Think of all the methane we saved. Yeah. From wiping out the buffalo. But what I found interesting is some of the different things with how you can increase. Well, we had somebody a while back that was using agrivoltaics to increase their output of sugarcane.
Right. Yeah.
If you add water generation, hanging vertical crop pot or tomatoes with dual purpose water capture. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There seems to be a lot of things you can do with that. Because our next article is also on solar. It's on this Syn Power with their floating photovoltaic system.
Yeah, this I found fascinating because this is sort of most of the time you see these where they put solar panels on a water reservoir or things like that. There's dual purpose there: gather power, but also reduce the evaporation. And this is the first one I've seen where they're actually mounting them, as we talked about last week, mounting them vertically. And these are dual faced panels, so they actually collect energy and produce electric current from energy on both sides of the panel, which normal solar panels you lay flat on a roof only can collect it from the one side. Excuse me. So they've done that. And of course, what the beauty of putting it on water is that you're getting the reflection of the sunlight off of the water that's bouncing up and that's hitting one side or the other, depending on where the sun is during the year and during the day.
I'm kind of wondering if this picture is AI, mainly because of the little platform that people are standing on.
Yeah, exactly. It could
it
well
has
be.
no chairs or whatever.
Well,
makes me a little suspicious.
Is it a pontoon? Yeah, or did they? Yeah, I agree. but the idea is certainly feasible. Let's put it that way. What they're doing here.
Right. After a year of took a year of construction, inaugurated its first Syn Power GmbH, which is a German company, inaugurated its first vertical floating photovoltaic system. Unlike conventional floating constructions, the system is based on vertically mounted modules. Yep. They're installed in an east-west orientation and separated from each other by open water corridors at least 4 meters wide. It's located in Starnberg, Germany, has a capacity of 1.87 megawatts, covers only 4.65, a little less than 5% of the lake's surface area, and remains well below the upper limit of 15% specified in the Water Resources Act. The electrical connection is made via a floating cable system with a central feed point on the shore. The expected annual yield is 2 gigawatt hours. The operator of the gravel plant expects this to reduce the plant's grid power system by up to 70%. So they're using it to fuel a gravel pit.
Power a gravel pit.
Which
probably the grinders, things like that. The motors for the conveyors and that type of thing.
Yeah, we're always seeing new stuff in that space. All right, I got a little creepy article here from Nio. So Nio is releasing this weird vehicle here called the Nio Firefly. It's got this strange 3-light configuration in the front. But just what's really weird about this is they decided to make it exclusively limited to 666 units.
Yeah, I thought that was that's not if you're into end time revelations.
The 4 horsemen are going to be driving Nio Fireflies.
They should have made it 888.
Which would, because that's a lucky number in China, right?
That's the lucky number in China, exactly. So why they went with 666, they obviously weren't thinking about evangelical Christians when they came up with that number.
No.
The mark of the beast.
Yeah, starts out at about $19,000. Including the battery pack, with deliveries to begin on October 23rd.
Yep.
Apparently there's 2 different models. Each one has 333 available. Well, who knows? Maybe there was something special about.
Yeah, it's just another
about that.
I mean, think about it. Here we are. You can count almost on one hand the number of EVs that are built by and offered by American manufacturers. I'll stretch and say maybe you can count them on both hands. we have no idea the total number of EVs, which are measured in the hundreds of
Yeah,
models that are
my
coming
counter.
out by the just
Yeah,
they've
my
got us.
counterpart in the EV charging manufacturing business says, it's like 160 EV companies. There's just so many. You just don't know
Now
what's
they
really
all are
going
going to
on.
obviously survive, but I mean, think of all the models that BYD has, right? And Geely has, and Nio has, and Xiping has, right? Or Xpeng or whatever they call it.
Hmm.
I mean, and that's only the big guys. That doesn't include any of the other, smaller companies or the companies that are rolled into the bigger Geelys of the world and the BYDs of the world. There's I posted an article. It's near the top of the RS stream that says basically, admitted America, you lost. We lost the EV race.
Oh, we're
China
going to
has,
get to that. We'll get to that one.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, we'll get to that yet. All right.
Please do.
So
Yeah.
here's the big one. What is this?
That
So
is
this
the
is a
new Corolla.
new
Probably
Toyota
either
Corolla with a charging door right there.
a charging door, which suggests one of two things. It will be an all-electric, or it will be a plug-in hybrid, extended range of some kind or another. We don't know which, but that's coming. Now, this is
I bet big money it's a plug-in hybrid.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Hmm. Although, one of the things BYD's been trying to target is what electric car could they make that could outsell the Corolla worldwide. I mean, the Corolla has for years been the top selling car on the planet. And Tesla unseated it for at least 2 full years with the Model Y.
Right.
But, BYD says that their target is being bigger than Toyota. And, this is obviously the one model that really outshines them all, right?
Yeah.
So,
And that's a damn good looking car. That's in my
it
view.
is.
Yeah.
It is. And Toyota's got 2 cars that are typically in the top 5 best selling in the world, and it's the Corolla and the Toyota Hilux. And once again, we talk a little bit about how all the Chinese cars are sold, and they're not sold in the United States. You don't sell the Hilux in the United States either.
No.
So it seems like American vehicle tastes aren't exactly what the rest of the world sees for vehicles. And as Americans, we're 5% of the world's population, 25% of the world's economy. And sometimes it's just hard to fathom because Americans all think the world revolves around the United States for the most part.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to understand that. And some of the articles we're going to get into as we go on in the show today just keep reinforcing that it's like there's a lot more to the world than just.
What would be really disappointing
Hmm.
is if Toyota says, we're not going to sell that in the U.S.
Oh God, that wouldn't even surprise me. Yeah. It would be, and watch this be just an all China version of the Corolla, and it's all electric.
Yep.
I mean, to think, if you told people that Buick's had 4 EV models that have done really well, but none have been sold in the United States,
none in the US.
Nobody would ever believe you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't seem like a believable story that Buick is doing that. Yet Buick sells 4 models. Well, actually, it's more than that now. I think it's 6 models now over in China. It's like, where are the US EVs? So it's just, hard to fathom. But anyways,
because the perception is, and it's probably an accurate reflection of the fact that we are still thinking 1950s here. We just are, and that was our heyday. That was the that and getting into maybe the space program in the early 60s and 70s. From there on, if we had any kind, we find the only innovation that came out beyond that would be, I'd say, the internet. What else have we done? I mean, I don't want to.
It's just, Who knows? Who knows? We'll get into now. We'll discuss the China EV race. So, China's won the EV race. I don't think there's much question on that. The United
No.
States is so far behind, it's not even remotely interesting. It's pretty cool looking at this little BYD store, but of course, that looks a lot like walking into a Tesla store, right?
Well, yeah.
So,
Where do you think they got the idea?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's very similar kind of experience. Looks like a store in the mall, just like
Yep.
Tesla does.
Yep.
And but the gist of the article is the gap between Chinese and American EVs keeps widening. Trump's tariffs won't change that. They'll just make Americans the last to know what they're missing. Well,
yeah, you got that. That's the last sentence in that story, which I thought, wow, that really hits home and hits hard.
Yeah, well, it's just hard to kind of fathom. I mean, if you let the Chinese manufacturers in, it destroys the U.S. car makers. There's no question.
Yeah,
There's
no question whatsoever.
But at a certain point, we're going to get into some of the news on GM. You're kind of like shake your head, but the government's certainly not helping. When one administration puts incentives, the next one takes them away.
Oh God,
and
yes.
It's certainly not made it easy. But like I said, we've looked at how it's happened in Germany, right, where they took the incentives away, and it took a year for it to come back around for the sales of EVs, and now they're doing better than ever.
Well, yeah,
but without the incentives.
Yeah, there's a guy that there's an article that he talks about how, in a way, it's a good thing because we've taken, I think the way he phrased it, we've taken the training wheels off of the EV movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you got, 4 years or whatever it was of, help and assistance and encouragement, as much as politics would allow us to do. And now, like a little kid who's pedaling along and having a great time with his little bicycle and his training wheels, how's he going to do when you pull the training wheels off, right? And that's kind of sort of where we're going to be, is will people see the value? I mean, every time, just read EV World, and you'll see I list all the relevant, important articles there in the RS stream that say this is the best way to go, that makes sense, it's economic, it's the future, despite what the gas companies may want you to believe.
Chinese automakers have pulled off one of the fastest industrial takeovers in modern history, building 70% of the world's electric vehicles and selling cars so advanced that Ford's CEO spent 6 months driving a Chinese EV instead of his own company's products.
Yep.
Jim
Farley.
Yep. American executives called it an existential threat, but they're running out of time to do anything about it. The gap keeps widening. Ford adopted manufacturing techniques that China mastered years ago, but still won't have a competitive $30,000 electric truck until 2027. The federal tax credits have gone away. And that just makes it even harder. BYD has had its own problems lately. It saw its sales drop for the first time in 18 months in September. China's auto industry is grappling with massive overcapacity, with more than half of its production capacity sitting idle. Beijing, meanwhile, is cracking down on the price wars that fueled growth. Well, we'll see where that goes.
Every little Chinese, none of our little, major Chinese cities over there, and that's not including, the Guangzhous and the Beijings and the Shanghais of the world. They all had, entrepreneurs come up to them and said, hey, the future's electric, fund us, give us incentives, and we'll build a really, global shattering electric car. That's how you end up with 150 different auto manufacturers. Out of that's going to, will rise, if you will, the cream of the crop. And it's, I went there in 1998 for the first time,
Mhm.
and it was for a symposium about electric vehicles, but they weren't really seriously making electric vehicles in 1998. They were just basically building, knockoff Volkswagens and that that kind of car, and the odd Buick. That Buick started over there. I don't know, early '90s. No, a little later even than that. Now look at it.
Mhm.
From 1998 to 2025, they are the world leader in this technology, despite the fact that General Motors and Ford and us all had this, programs going in the late '90s,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
dropped the ball and let the Chinese run with it.
Yep. Sure. A big change. Even though BYD may have had some issues in September, from January to July of this year, China's passenger vehicle exports to Europe, BYD went up 237%. Chery Auto went up 195%.
Yep.
Volkswagen went up 166%. This is Volkswagen in China.
In Volkswagen China,
European.
yep.
Geely was up 51%. Tesla was down 31%, which that was the only one that was down.
Competition.
Yep. But some company called EGT was up 609%, but they only sold 15,000 vehicles.
I'd never even heard of them. So
Yeah, so the previous year there must have been around 2,500. Leapmotor up 638%.
yep. They're
And
the ones that did a deal with Stellantis in Europe.
Yeah, in terms of these were the top exporters to Europe from China. Let's see here. BYD 155,000, SAIC 100, almost 150,000, Chery with 83. See, I don't know what the names of I'm familiar with BYD, but these ones, what is this? Is this MG?
Shanghai SAC is Shanghai Auto Corporation.
Yeah, but
Or
which car
Shanghai Auto.
companies do they own?
Oh, let's see.
Are they
To be honest, yeah, they've got several sub brands underneath them.
It's like Chery. I don't know if they export as Chery or what companies they export.
Chery is partnered with General Motors, I believe, if memory serves.
Okay, because here at number 5 we see Geely, but we also see Geely Volvo at number 10.
Right.
So, Geely was down. But you see some of these companies were way up. Anyways, let's see.
I'll look up EGT. I don't know. I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah. So GM just announced they're taking a $1.6 billion charge related to EV pullback. They're saying that their all-electric vehicle plans are not playing out as anticipated. They're having a reassessment of its EV capacity and manufacturing footprint, which is ongoing, signaling additional charges could be announced later. These come about a year after Ford had done the same thing with a $1.9 million charge for where they basically put money into developing production lines and then stopped using them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That being said, on my way to the Experimental Aircraft Association meeting last night, saw a brand new Equinox.
Mm-hmm.
Just good looking car.
Oh yeah, and pretty good selling. It's just we realize that the American car makers, other than Tesla, haven't really figured out how to make EVs.
Not yet.
And how to make them profitable. I mean, GM has certainly increased its product line, and they've certainly, moved into a solid number 2 position.
Yep.
And
be interesting to see what happens when they roll out the new Bolt too. So,
and Ford, really just the Mach-E and the Lightning. it's not really a lot of options there.
No,
You know,
no.
Ford was looking to making a 3-row SUV a year ago, and that was one of the big thing they canceled, was that 3-row SUV. So that's you know, a big hit. And Ford says it was already pretty far in development and delaying production of its next generation electric full-size pickup truck.
Well, I think the next one we'll see, probably if it's Chunk Ford, will be the Bronco. I think they've already, aren't they doing that, the Bronco version in China?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Sounds
believe
like a good idea.
Yeah, I think they're doing a Bronco version in China, and we'll probably see that over here at some point.
I'm always surprised though that they sell an electric Explorer in Europe, but not in the United States. That one, I mean, it's such a great selling vehicle for Ford.
I wonder how much of that has to do with, you know, because their corporate leasing program and employee, you know, benefits program, it can encourage people to go electric. So I'm wondering if maybe that has to do there's just generally a little bit different incentive structure for employees generally across Europe that we don't have here.
Yeah, so now we had announced about a week or two ago that Ford and GM were buying their own vehicles in their leasing division so that they could pass the $7,500 lease deal. But
you know who else is buying their own vehicles?
We'll get to that. I've got an article on that too.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is kind of sad. A couple of GOP senators who apparently they used to own car dealerships, they complained and they have cut that off. The government apparently cut that off because originally that was considered to be a you know, an okay plan.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't see where that's like end of the world you know, thing, even if it's not the flavor of what Congress intended.
Anyway,
I don't know. It's just kind of a weird deal.
I will not comment. I'm getting a little too political here, so I'll be quiet.
Yeah. You know, Bill, we've gone through this now for a few years together, and we've seen some interesting things with the changes in politics. How one party, you know, was really good for some things and not as good for others, and then we have a complete flip flop, and you know.
Well, let's see. We're good for coal, and we're good for people.
We got our nuclear going across the. Holy crap! Oklo's at 182 today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Dave is happy because he bought at a nice price. So we won't go into any more than that. That's private information. But he's happy with what's happening at Oklo.
Yeah. You know, but Tesla's down a hair today. Rivian up a hair. Lucid
yay!
I mean, Lucid at $21. I mean, what was it at $3? I mean, you got to be happy with, you know, where Lucid's sitting. I mean, it's made such an improvement. You know, AMD, Microsoft, all doing, you know, not big changes. There's been a lot of volatility in the stock markets the last few weeks.
And in the crypto market.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, it's weird because the stock markets were up yesterday while crypto was down.
Yeah.
And it didn't really make a lot of sense. I just can't believe Oklo was at 182 today. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about Oklo on the phone this morning, and we were looking at their market cap. And I was saying when I looked last night, they were at 20 billion. They just crossed for market cap. And he was looking and goes, oh, they're at like 23 billion. And the price had gone up, you know.
Wow.
And that's quite a big jump from just yesterday. And yesterday it went up 16%. Yeah, it's just, who knows? I don't think it's a good entry point to get into Oklo now. You know, it's one of those things where you need to wait for it to dip again.
And remember, folks, we are not giving investment advice.
No.
We're only doing this for entertainment and educational purposes. Okay.
Yeah, there's this thing, you know, fear of missing out. You know, people or FOMO, and people want to jump in when the thing's rocketing along. And if you get in at the very end of the increase, it doesn't do you any good. And it's just too easy to have that happen.
What goes up must come down at some point.
Well, in theory, right? Doesn't always happen in the stock market.
Speaking in ballistics, now, and speaking of SpaceX, right? Did you watch the launch yesterday?
I did not.
Oh man, I didn't either. I watched a replay this morning. When they launched yesterday at 7:30 our local time here in the Midwest, I was at the EAA meeting. So we were learning about how to make sure we avoid getting hit by all those Air Force reconnaissance planes that fly in and out of Offutt Air Base over Dave and I's head. So they had the chief officer there, a major in the Air Force, who came and gave a talk to advise us. It was interesting. He says, you have to look out for us because we can't look out for you because we're in these great big heavies, 730, 707 basically, and 747. He says, our windows are this big and we can't look, and we fly by instruments. So we're not looking out to avoid you. You have to avoid us, your airplane. So it was interesting.
Those are big aircraft flying through the space. It's always cool when I'm out walking to watch the aircraft fly by.
We have some very interesting aircraft that are based here, and I won't go into any details. We have because of where we're located in the middle of the country, and it's a major Air Force base. Mm-hmm. We have all kinds of traffic coming through here. So every now and then we see some really weird stuff, right?
Like a B-2.
Well, yeah, he says the B-2s never land though. They can come in and fly over, but they don't land. Do you know why?
Why?
Because there's too much high sensitive top secret material on those planes. They only come
land it off.
Yeah, they land, they take and have, they run their circuits and approaches and things, and then they go back to Whiteman, which is where they're based down in Missouri. They don't land here because do they even
do a touch and go or anything?
I don't think they even do touch and goes.
Wow. I mean, because they always look like they're on an approach.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they can shoot an approach, but as far as I know, they're not shooting touch and goes. I mean, I guess I could ask him because now I know how to get in touch with him. But
I mean, they almost look, as they pass by, they almost look like they're in hover mode because they're such a large aircraft. Large aircraft always look like they're going slow.
And you know what they're flying? They're flying over 200 miles an hour on those approaches.
Yeah.
But they're just looking like they're going like this. So yeah.
And of course, if it was nighttime, you wouldn't even know it was there, and the fact that they run their lights.
Yes, and he made reference to how they even can go into a stealth mode.
Yeah.
So I won't go beyond that because he didn't go beyond that. He just said, just let you know that we can throw a switch and disappear.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of funny. All right, so let's talk about Tesla Cybertrucks sales.
Yeah.
So, Cybertruck sales haven't been doing what they're supposed to. The goal was to have a production capacity of 250,000 units per year, but they're only selling about 20,000 units annually. A 10% utilization of a production line is a terrible situation for an automaker. So what they've been doing is they're now having XAI, SpaceX,
subsidiaries.
Musk-owned companies all buy hundreds, maybe thousands of Cybertrucks. So, but on the plus side, they're getting rid of all of their internal combustion engine vehicles that they have. But it's just
Pat, I had on the way to my meeting last night, I had going the other direction, going east on 370, I had a Cybertruck. So somebody here locally has one somewhere. So
yeah, I see them all the time.
Yeah,
I see them. I have tennis friends who have them now. You can really tell though who has money to burn and who's just buying a vehicle, because the people who have money to burn, they all have the wraps on them and stuff like that. It's interesting to see. When you just see the plain stainless steel one, it's like, oh, there's somebody who bought one. Probably that's about as much as they could afford.
That could afford, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen there's the one with a black wrap.
Yeah. Well,
Someone's
one
got
of my tennis friends has a black wrap on his. He's
Yeah.
a single doctor.
Okay.
So, and but
Doctor of what?
he's a pediatrician.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. But anyways, it's just kind of funny. But of course, he's also Indian. This is really funny. I saw somebody criticizing Indians on some YouTube short. And I'm just like, you pick the one demographic that buys American, they completely embrace American culture, even though they still have their own culture.
Sure.
But they all came over here. They all learn English. They all, they all pay
and
taxes.
are extraordinarily smart people and bright people, and raising equally smart kids.
And they all express gratitude in the way they speak. They're so grateful for being here in this country and all that. And I'll still see people making fun of them. It's like, yeah, you picked the wrong.
Go back to where you came from.
Yeah, it's like, give me a break. But it is really funny because in our market, I would say the vast majority of Tesla owners are probably Indian. And
good for them. I'm glad they've had success enough to be able to do that.
Yes, I think it's mandatory at the Hindu temple here in Omaha. It's really funny. I always joke about, just look for all the Teslas with the turmeric on the dashboard, and where they've all been blessed by a Hindu priest.
Oh, okay. So if I take my white bolt over to the Indian temple and get it blessed, it'll have
some turmeric,
the red turmeric on it. Yeah.
Yes, or they'll take turmeric and they'll make the Om sign, the OHM sign, which looks kind of like a 3.
Oh, okay.
And I've seen that on the hood, which that one I'm still confused what that really means. But who knows? Maybe we could ask Yogi. Maybe Yogi would know why we put an Om on there. Anyways, that was all the articles I had today. But it is kind of interesting to see how Tesla is doing this.
Yeah,
they combined XAI and X. Okay?
Right.
So I think he was trying to give more value to X, but he's trying to make X be more like WeChat. So in China, WeChat, people pay bills with WeChat. So it's not just a WhatsApp alternative. They have all these things incorporated in it. I'll be honest though, I use WeChat, and compared to WhatsApp, it's not really that intuitive. You'd think it would be a little bit more refined. WhatsApp is definitely a better product for messaging.
Yeah, I've used it a few times.
But WeChat has other things because you can't use WhatsApp everywhere. China blocks it. You have to use a VPN to use it. If you're in Dubai doesn't like it either. You have to use a VPN, or they have one over there called Botem. And Botem's a more popular messaging app that you use out of the Middle East. And but I'm just saying, but WeChat has these payment features in it, so you can, like Venmo and things like that.
Right.
And Musk has talked about how he'd eventually like to take X and have it be it may make it a little bit more like WeChat.
More like that, yeah.
WeChat has a lot of features to it that we just don't think of in a messaging app.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But he certainly added the XAI in there.
Hey, before we ring off, could you bring up the EV World's homepage? I just wanted to point out that now that I've begun really making serious use of various AIs, the amount of material that I'm now generating that's exclusive to EV World, which some of the articles we've referred to, if you just go on down to the EV.
Yeah, I saw the one here about the air flight. The only reason I really didn't cover this one today was we have this one picture. I really wish it would have given us some because it's talking about a vehicle that separates.
Yeah, I
And
can
like
change that
top half
if
of the
you want
car.
to see that. But I wanted to bring up, my curiosity was this story was originally just about Xpeng's VTOL, the mother ship kind of thing that they've been working on. But what I was interested in is why is a little Arab emirate, right, on the Persian Gulf, what are they doing in this space, right? This should be Boeing or Lockheed Martin or, aerospace, some of those companies.
Mhm.
So what is a little emirate doing with this thing? And that's kind of what the thrust of this article was I wanted to point out the fact that they've got some big plans, I'm guessing in the age beyond petroleum or natural gas, whatever their, big moneymaker is, that they're trying to get ready. Like the Saudis are doing the same thing with different kinds of tech. Their deal with Lucid, and they just finished up this course of hydrogen off-road racing there outside of Riyadh.
Mhm.
So they're all trying to plan ahead for this thing. So I was curious about why they were there. And this happens to be His Royal Highness Sheikh something or something something, right?
Mhm.
So I thought, well, rather than have just a picture of the Peng, aircraft, I wanted to have a picture of him in the photo. But all I'm doing is I'm saying this: having AI now allows me to go in, ask questions, fill in blanks that other authors have left out, and put that into an article that's exclusive to EV World. And we're getting some serious traffic on that. We had one day, which you may have seen last week, or actually earlier, I'm sorry, this was, I think, Sunday or Monday,
Mhm.
that we had delivered 150,000 page views in one 24-hour period. And yesterday it was 133,000 page views. So, and a lot of that I think is coming because of these new exclusive articles. There's just been a jump. And then also it could be because you went out and did your thing in California and got a lot of interest
Yeah.
for us that way too. So,
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Um, but yeah, they're just you know, I look every day at so many different AI products trying to see what I can do to make my life simpler. And there's so many things, I can't recommend enough to people to just keep looking. I have an AI I particularly like that, and Bill has some that he particularly likes. Yogi has some that he particularly likes. And we all tend to use different ones. And I've found uses. There's so many different ones in different areas and the things that they're good for. Um, and it's not really it's generating fairly accurate information, but it's interesting that sometimes I can't find exactly what I'm looking for. And I can sometimes talk to some of the different AIs and get them, as an example, Perplexity will do more research right
right,
now. And so if I need something that's really current, I can ask Perplexity because it'll go toggle current news, whereas
right.
ChatGPT doesn't.
No,
Okay.
it's got to cut
And
off. Yeah,
even my favorite AI is GenSpark, but GenSpark does a lot of integration with ChatGPT, so I can get every advanced pro feature of ChatGPT in GenSpark plus a lot of other things, but it doesn't toggle what Perplexity does.
yeah,
And so Perplexity will do a better evaluation of what's going on right now. So there was a news article I saw over the weekend. I couldn't really find good news on the topic. I went and talked to Perplexity, and it found me all kinds of obscure
yeah, yep.
on the topic. And because it was something that was really important and
Yeah.
apparently wasn't newsworthy enough that enough places pick up the.
Yeah, yep. Well, you'll find that a lot with most of these articles now that I'm producing in cooperation with some of the different AIs that I'm using. You'll find that I'm asking it also to list links to the sources it used. So if you
Mhm.
want to dig deeper into it, there are the links there, which you oftentimes will not find with other articles. I mean, like this one that we did on the Dubai, the UAE, United Arab Emirates story, and their progress there. That original article had nothing about why the UAE was involved in it, and I wanted to learn more. So it was able to go off and grab all these other sources and put it together and build a coherent article that I sit down and review and either say, okay, that's good, let's publish it, or I say, hey, find me some more information. So
Perplexity is really good about citing sources. GenSpark does it some, but not to the level that Perplexity does. And so it's really, that's one of the big things that Perplexity is known for research, for just its ability to cite sources, which doesn't seem like it should be that big of a deal, right? But I think you get all these issues of all these companies, like Apple just got sued because some AI program it's working on has been pulling from pirated documents. And anyways, say hi to Todd.
Hi Todd.
Yeah.
Hey, just speaking also, these things do hallucinate. The story that I did on the vertical solar panels on the German lake, one of the AIs, I won't identify which, one of the AIs said, oh, this was done on Lake Constance. I said, what? And I went back and looked at the article. There's no reference to Lake Constance. It was basically a gravel pit lake, in this town in Germany. So
that's weird.
You can't trust them all the time.
I've had hallucinations in Excel spreadsheets, in AI. Okay, so it wasn't just, but what would happen is I would tell the AI to fix something that I wanted to run a scenario a different way, and it would only fix the specific line in the Excel, and that might have changed how, a row, but it wasn't changing the columns.
Right.
And so eventually I learned that whenever you tell it to fix something in a spreadsheet in an AI, you have to tell it to go back and check the math both vertically and horizontally, or, to make sure it's running all the way through. So it definitely takes it longer, but it's just, otherwise it'll only correct what it wants to correct, because the one thing they don't do is show their work. Like if I sent you an Excel spreadsheet that I created manually, you could go and you could look at all of the formulas I pop in there.
Right.
And it's a little different. So he's on LinkedIn. Those messages won't go to him. So he can hear us, but we can't message LinkedIn.
Oh, interesting.
From inside StreamYard.
Oh, well.
Yeah, go figure. Yeah,
Thanks, Todd.
It's just like somehow we don't interface hardly with Twitter at all, even though we have lots of people watching from Twitter.
Yeah.
It doesn't really.
Oh, well.
It's never really quite made sense. Anyways, we've covered everything guys. Today. Everybody have a great day. I'll be back with a special guest. We're talking about wireless vehicle charging tomorrow. And this guy's got some really good points. It's very enlightening, his theory as to why that's going to take over. Anyways,
okay.
All right.
Good.
See you later.
All right. Bye-bye.